Inadequate by Jeannette Fraser Henshall. Larry Wilson. Friend of my heart, when you're away, I fashion for my tongue 1,000 things to say to you. But, dear heart, when you come, how needless is my well-formed phrase, and my care-chosen words. Take swift and sudden flight away, like small wind-riven birds. And with you here, my full glad heart can only say, you've come, for all your touching, pleading ways but serve to make me dumb. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Old Masonry by Jeannette Fraser Henshall. Read for LibriVox.org by Carrie Adams, your book voice. Long, long ago in our old street, back from the busy road, an old deserted stone house stood, breaking beneath its load. Such ruin that remained of peaks stood out against the skies, and the memory of old things looked from behind its eyes. In summertime this dead old house set in its flowery space, one likened to a stranger in a much too friendly place. In winter-time its creaking frame, with all its falling beams, was like a sea-rocked sailor grown weary of his dreams. It leaned a little westward, and now I think it knew, and was waiting other voices it long had listened to. Once I was part of this old ruin, when I myself were young. Out of pity I must leave you, and half the song unsung. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Hymn of Adoration by Jeannette Fraser Henshall. Read for LibriVox.org by Carrie Adams, your book voice. I am grown weary for new scenes, but not of human make, but oh, for hills and long green fields, a splintered, glittering lake. This day I am an intimate, with sky and bird and tree, with budding boughs and turbulent streams, and God's immensity. I am enamored with fresh days, drenched with rain and sun. The thought of thine omnipotence, O God, has made me dumb. Thy goodness is so wide a thing, beat for me slower time. I cannot sing so great a song in one short life like mine. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Sweet Distress by Jeannette Fraser Henshall. Read for LibriVox.org. I have known the beauty of a fire-gold west, and from the hurt in rain-song I shall never rest. I heard the water running from a green hill's crest, but what is sweet in sorrow, hearts remember best. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Chastening by Jeannette Fraser Henshall. Read for LibriVox.org by Adrian Stevens. I see thee now, thine innocence writ on thy soul's clear skies, thy laughter-loving mouth, thy love-provoking eyes. I mark thy soft girl fairness, thy strong young body's grace, the woman soul that I have nursed, dawning behind thy face. I note with fear thy heedless and unchided turbulence, unfaltering faith in life and love, thine air of confidence. And then I see as seers might see, even as one's own God, thy straight slim youthfulness bent to the chastening rod. I writhe to think I may not bear the blows for thine own sake. I cannot, though 'tis mine to know how one small heart can ache. In the winds of thy fierce breaking, God grant I never see thy flashing spirit sullen, or thy lips in mutiny. But rather, child, I'll have thee know, even as I the rod, as a tuning fork to bring thy soul back to the harp of God. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Four Winds of Heaven by Jeannette Fraser Henshall. Read for LibriVox.org by Wayne Cook. When I hear the north wind, it never fails to bring reminders of forget-me-nots and sunny days in spring. And oh, the east wind carries upon its scented sail the thought of pink arbutus in some secluded vale. And how I'd like to gather, when winds are in the west, a brace of orange blossoms to hold against my breast. But oh, I love the south wind that breathes across the loam, for oh, the tender south wind just whispers, dear, come home. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Friend by Jeannette Fraser Henshall. Read for LibriVox.org by Carrie Adams, your book voice. Last night when I was watching shadows lengthen from twilight into deeper, darker lines, the lazy river caught my little boat dear and swept it in among the clinging vines. And somehow in the mirror of the current I saw your kindly face look back at me. Then I reached my eager hands toward you, as one would do to friends across the sea. Friend, oh, mine, don't think that I've forgotten, though parted now by many a weary mile. In every little pool I see reflected your eyes, forever tender with a smile. And someday, when God calls me from my dreaming and draws me from life's loneliness apart, I'll carry all these things that I remember about you up to heaven in my heart. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Humility by Jeannette Fraser Henshall. Read for LibriVox.org by Wayne Cook. I have come a long way over sea and sod. I have found nothing as small as me, nothing as great as God. God has in his keeping eternities of time. He hears worlds of trouble, but gives ear to mine. He sways stars and planets, keeps the keys of death, but in his loving kindness paused to give me breath. I have seen a mountain, sweet flowers, a bird, a tree. God has lovely children. Dare he look on me? End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Shadows by Jeannette Fraser Henshall. Read for LibriVox.org by Adrian Stevens. I sat with dreams and mated them with shadows, where sunlight flecked the grass and trickled through each swaying twig and branch of spruce and elder. Adoringly they somehow spoke of you. I sat tense-eyed, my longing vision sensing, an unseen art-wise hand begin to trace, with all love's magic trickery displaying to me your hair, your pallid waiting face. In all these voiceless years of night and grieving, above thy grave I grasp this gleam of grace. Perhaps, sometime, there is no pain or parting, I'll smile again into your waiting face. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Two Roads by Jeannette Fraser Henshall. Read for LibriVox.org by M. Lee. There are two roads near Joppa town, and here I doubting stood, for one went winding round the hill, the other through the wood. And if I took the winding road, 'twould lead me through them all, of noise and gossipers, for which I have no heart at all. Sweet briar nodded from the hill, the bluebells from the shade, a purple finch decided me, so in the woods I stayed. A brooding bird and restless young began to chide and fret, and wonder in bird fashion what I ever came to get. A green snake ran across my path, its eyes were jewel small. A flying squirrel left a tree that seemed 10 paces tall. I picked a fern that had uncurled itself from out the ground, and oh, the wood delighted me the way it stood around. And there were holy moments when my very soul went still, and sad I was for folks who took the road around the hill. And when I left the sancted place, my arms were loaded down. It cost me not one pang to shun the road to Joppa town. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Reason by Jeannette Fraser Henshall. Read for LibriVox.org by Adrian Stevens. When I was but a little girl, mere flotsam on life's sea, because of youth a lovely rose meant just a rose to me. Before I knew that love was life, and life were all of love, the sky was only atmosphere, and God frowned up above. But now I am a woman grown, and know love tenderly. I cannot tell you, dear, how much God's roses mean to me. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. When June Comes by Jeannette Fraser Henshall. Read for LibriVox.org by Adrian Stevens. When June comes back again, I'll sit away back from the road and dip my face and arms in clover blooms, and drink my fill of their perfumes, and steep myself in one great gleam of sunlight, and I'll dream and dream and dream. I'll lean back in the grass and sigh, and look love at the blue, blue sky, until my senses reel and reel like elm tree branches, and a feel of drowsiness oozes between my eyelids, while I dream and dream and dream. A lethargy binds tongue and lips, and creeps down to my fingertips. Troubles, cares, and everything float out past my remembering, and all the world is one great beam of gladness, while I dream and dream and dream. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Through Loving Eyes by Jeannette Fraser Henshall. Read for LibriVox.org by Adrian Stevens. Like a careless child in the drifts it stood against the darkness of the wood. Even the path was not cut through, up to the door it led you to. Beauty untarnished, but never a sound, save for the whispering trees around. Its shining eyes on the cold world shone, warm and bright from its snowy comb. Cheer was the word the blue fume wrote as it cleared itself from the chimney's throat. The drifts that lay on the tent-like sheds were like the covers of untouched beds. A great white garment of snow and frost was laid on the fence, but the hedge was lost. A while away the home garden park divides itself from the wood's soft dark. Dear God, I said, you had meant to please when giving man such gifts as these. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Worship by Jeannette Fraser Henshall. Read for LibriVox.org by Carrie Adams, your book voice. I did not always know 'twas kind of thee to let me pass, and with my sacrilegious feet walk lightly through thy grass. How could I know, when I was young, 'twas one of thine own dreams, to tender me the license of thy hills and singing streams? How couldst thou take even a part of thy remotest time, and weld me, poor unworthily link, into this chain of thine? One day I learned at cost of pain, among the shadows dim, thy gifts of violets, oh God, their fragrance cutting in. I set apart one hallowed day, forever dear to me, because thou taughtest me to love a flowering apple tree. And since I've older grown and drawn to solitudes apart, I find I cannot tell the Lord all that is in my heart. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Evermore by Jeannette Fraser Henshall. Read for LibriVox.org. Then I go on from here, I'll take the ever-pleasant memory of a lake. I'll tightly lock within my spirit breast the picture of a grim old mountain's crest, a little stream's song running ever clear, and all the lonely places I hold dear, a mocking bird, a drenched and dripping tree. Oh, I shall keep my hunger for the sea. I shall keep my knowledge of the paths I know, the gates of many mornings and the glow of sunset on a fire-gold window pane, the mist on young nasturtiums after rain, Virginia creeper on some quaint old garden wall, the sound of dropping nuts, I'll take them all, the falling leaves, the closing of the year, I'll not forget, though I go on from here. These thoughts I shall retain, e'en past the gates of death, of burnished autumn leaves, a tiny baby's breath. In my heart I'll take the heaven's most untried height, a moon-drowned flower from some star-riven night. I shall remember, through great ages of God's time, the wind and clover, rain in summer-time. Think you I could forget, through death's wild fret and pain, the look of slim young birches in the rain? End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
A City Guest by Jeannette Fraser Henshall. Read for LibriVox.org by Wayne Cook. The wonder never went out of her eyes when she saw the sweep of our wide blue skies, the things we farmers forget in the pain of sowing and planting and reaping again. Things taken for granted lose the touch of newness and dazzle we love so much, while she, soft-eyed and with shining face, found pleasure in all things about the place. She gathered the flowers in wind and rain that we called common and thought real plain, from the sweep of our lawn to the poppy bed flaunting their colors about her head, till we ourselves looked with glad new eyes on an old, old setting, but a new sunrise. Cold days she would rise and sing, for she found beauty in everything. Will she ever know in the city street how we think of her when the snow and sleet make houses enjoyable things to own? How often we mention her name at home? Can she ever know with her warm flower heart how she gave us back what we lost in part? How the thought of her, when it's cold with rain, fills the house and the halls with herself again. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Reminders by Jeannette Fraser Henshall. Read for LibriVox.org by Teal Plumley. The sun, the wind and rain, the trees, the flowers and skies, a grosbeak's note from its flaming throat, and my bosom is tossed with sighs. Eye-beams and locks of hair, the curve of a white cheek near, each day of the week filled full of the sweet reminders of you, my dear. The crowd in the city street, a hill that is bleak and bare, a fleecy cloud floating high and proud, and I think of my darling's hair. A voice that is strangely like your own that I turn to see. A slippery laugh convincing me half my dreams have been fooling me. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Soul by Jeannette Fraser Henshall. Read for LibriVox.org. Because there never was a voice on earth could soothe its harrowings. That's why these souls God gave to us are always lonely things. Because life is so short, and death so sure, and the world's uncertain things, and time so fleet, and heaven so high, souls have such restless wings. Because 'twas fashioned in the heavenly realm of God's creative schemes. That's why a soul goes hungrily from dream to shining dream. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Farewell by Jeannette Fraser Henshall. Read for LibriVox.org by Raj from California. When you are twining wreaths of rose and columbine to soften outlines of a tomb too new, remember, spring makes little tents all green and cool. For soldier boys this old world never knew. When spring comes tripping down the lane once more, and children bring you violets of blue, when your tender heart is strained beyond the breaking, let this be my farewell, dear heart, to you. When spring comes romping, singing back again, dressed in her garments fragrant, fresh and new, When once more robins sing among the budding trees, all honey sweet with apple blooms and dew. When you have searched the woods as once you did, for specimens of moss and long, dank fern, remember that I too have loved the flowers, but look no more, no more for my return. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Rainbow Ribbons by Jeannette Fraser Henshall, read for LibriVox.org by Raj from California. Bring me rainbow ribbons and the band of blue. Bring me threads of silver from the moonbeam's hue. Bring a pure cloud fleecy, snatch a sunbeam bright. Tints from twilight evenings, matchless and just right to mate with all her beauty. These amassed will make the dreams, tender, pure and holy, of a girl just turned 13. Bring me rainbow ribbons from the sunset too, then a wide thought from the angels who are holding hands with you. Bring the rosebud's fragrance and the apple blossom's bloom, the hushed voice from the morning, then leave a little room for 1,000 transient colors from a God's infinite dream, and you'll have the soul and fancies of a girl just turned 13. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. My Neighbor's Roses by Jeannette Fraser Henshall, read for LibriVox.org by Raj from California. My neighbor's roses always grow in such a tantalizing row of fragrance and perfume, a riotous mass of twilight bloom. And I am tempted oftentimes, when walking where the stravens climb, to reach my willing hands out so, and clasp each crimson, flaming glow. A breeze steals softly through the day, and brushes them too far away. Christ, make me kind enough to give of roses while my friends yet live. And if they reach their eager hands to wear my flowers with clinging bands, or nodding, tempting from the row. Oh, Christ, I pray, let breezes blow 1,000 fragrant, tender charms into my neighbor's outstretched arms. Then keep my burning heart and thought tender enough to stay them not. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. The Long Twilight by Jeannette Fraser Henshall, read for LibriVox.org by Raj from California. When pop is bald and my hair is white, and the stage is set for a long twilight, when we are alone in our little den, he with his pipe and I with my pen, it will not be regrets that make us sigh, for we'll have things that the world can't buy. For we have snatched from the mute-mad throng a little of love and a deathless song, a few glad dreams and our thoughts all white, the silence of God in the long twilight. When pop is bald and my hair is white, and we are nearing the end of the long twilight, it will not seem cold in the darksome wood, for we have been friends with solitude, and often yearned in the shadows cold for the friendly smiles the gods withhold. Hearts all the braver for the feel of pain, for a rose grows sweeter every time it rains. A few glad notes from a comrade's song we'll sing in the night as we go along. For we carry the blossoms if frost never blights, and we'll have no mourning till we have said good night. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
A Lone Walk by Jeannette Fraser Henshall. Read for LibriVox.org. A Lone Walk. When I had left the city street and lost the open road, I breathed contentedly and deep, as one who shifts a load. I wasn't caring where I went or where I meant to go, but I was sourcing from my path the brown leaves drifted so. When I was wandering aimlessly, just what my quest would bring, I saw pink arbutus bloom, and heard a warbler sing. The sky seemed blue and higher here than it was back in town, and oh, the wind delighted me, the way it blew around. And then I sought the grey glen road, went with it through the wood, and in its long green aisles I walked, and worshipfully stood. My neighbour questioned from the fence what I had seen out there. I said I sought adventure, and I found it everywhere. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
A Death Blow by Jeannette Fraser Henshall. Read for LibriVox.org by P. Cha. He said goodbye, you hobbled out. The doctor shut the door. From your face I knew he'd told you things we had guessed before. I saw you slightly tremble, but I reached you ere you fell. Your fixed face said many things, more than you cared to tell. One does not receive death warrants, as one would a courtesy. After a while your head went up, and you talked it all out with me. Brave little woman, I knew you were never afraid. Not for yourself you forbid me to speak, and my questions you stayed. All I could give was silence. Your pride forbade me much, though I longed to hear your burden, even to be your crutch. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. The Breath of Life by Jeannette Fraser Henshall. Read for LibriVox.org by P. Cha. I'd like to lift the threads of life and weave them on a loom, and make a pattern beautiful as any day in June. I'd put 10,000 violets and shimmering leaves of green around the edge and over it to hide each vulgar seam. Because death brushed me with dark wings, reluctant passed me by, I take the threads of life again and weave and smile and sigh. But if I had a godlike power, omnipotence of mind, to put the thought of suffering and death a league behind, life would be violets to me, much sweeter than a dream. The pattern on my loom would show no raw and ghastly seam. But then methinks it is because of what the looms disclose. The breath of life is sweeter than the fragrance of a rose. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. A Day in Spring by Jeannette Fraser Henshall. Read for LibriVox.org by P. Cha. Go slow, O day immaculate, much slower than the rest. Master of time, mark every hour as though thou were not pressed, or hurried, but more leisurely, and gently let them chime. O morn, take off thy wings of speed, and let this day be mine. O day, immaculate and kind, make no rude haste or speed, but loiter in less trodden paths, walk lightly o'er the mead. Spring and I are holding hands on a green hill's dazzling crest. Make this day, God, go very slow, more slowly than the rest. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Autumn by Jeannette Fraser Henshall. Read for LibriVox.org. I see you now, your autumn gown in wanton fashion hung, your crimson scarf half rakishly to trifling breezes flung. I was distressed and sad to think you did not even care. But once your harp sang low and sweet, you breathed a solemn prayer. You sang soft, broken numbers, sad as your soul's distress, and I loved you no matter how wanton or scarlet or scanty your dress. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Little Girl by Jeannette Fraser Henshall. Read for LibriVox.org by Jerry Beth Martin. From out of the calendar of time, grant me one glorious day, and let me follow singing streams, so cool with tossing spray, and riot in their pebbled beds where willows bend and swirl their giddy heads, as once they did when I was little girl. And let me feel again the clutch one gets down in the throat from long admiring silent things, faint sounds and clouds afloat. Let afternoon slip languidly, tree branches bend and twirl adoringly, as once they did when I was little girl. Give me one riotous, unbound day to climb a dizzy hill, waist deep in laurel, where wood-birds gyrate and mock and trill, where even timid walkers' steps unloose great rocks that hurl delightedly to depths I feared when I was little girl. Grant me one free, unbounded day wherein I may explore the land where dream folks' houses shed moon dazzle from the door. O riotous day, detain my steps, clasp me from this mist whirl, and let me live the dreams I dreamed when I was little girl. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. My Old House and the Weather by Jeannette Fraser Henshall. Read for LibriVox.org by Jerry Beth. I grow so very weary of the city's crowded street, the babbling of voices, the restlessness of feet. I often wish my friends would talk, less dexterous and less clever, and let me say a word about my old house and the weather. I long to stop those restless feet, and if I only could, I'd still their babbling tongues a while with back-home quietude. I long to let them know about birches that stand together and the hand that threw the blooms around my old house and the weather. But as it is, I only take mere twigs of it to town, the lilacs when they're on the bush and roses tumbling round. But folks forget so hurriedly and talk of fuss and feather. I think they'd best come out and my old house and the weather. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Bluestone River, West Virginia by Jeannette Fraser Henshall. Read for LibriVox.org by Wayne Cook. Sometime in my daydreaming, through my half-lidded eyes, I'm seeing old Virginia and old Virginia skies, the narrow crooked roadway, the path by which we came, and then I see the river, Bluestone River, in the rain. Then there's the drooping willows, swaying, swirling side by side, and the hollyhocks keep nodding to each other in the tide. And the mists we love o' mornings puts our dropping tears to shame, when we see it clear the river, Bluestone River, in the rain. And there's the little homestead just across the running stream. It beckons from the mountain like a kind hand in a dream. A soft, mellow light is breaking from each golden window pane, and it shines down on the river, Bluestone River, in the rain. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Sea Hunger by Jeannette Fraser Henshall. Read for LibriVox.org by Jeff Pierpont. I've languished under many moons, and loved them all, ah me, but now my heart is filled too full of hunger for the sea. When thinking of the white gulls that ride the creamy foam, I almost hear the brave winds o'er singing seas at home. And when I think of white mists that rise from shore to shore, in utter weariness I weep, but cannot see them more. And some day, when I leave my dreams, these tides in which I've striven, I'll lock their memories in my breast and carry them to heaven. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Tree Sounds by Jeannette Fraser Henshall. Read for LibriVox.org by Jeff Pierpont. The forest closed and folded about me like a tent. The tree-tops swayed and toppled, rain-riven and wind-rent. The old harp in the pine trees struck chords minor and deep. So in the storm-tossed forest I was rocked to sleep. That was long ago, O ages, yet through these rushing years, the sounds of a wind-rent forest is ever in my ears. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
A Wish by Jeannette Fraser Henshall. Read for LibriVox.org by Teal Plumley. They call me girl, gave me the name of one I'll never see. I wish they'd given me instead the name of some nice tree. A tree that rocks with every wind, fast rooted in the ground, straining its eager branches up to where God's looking down. A neighbor to the grass and flowers, a friend to all the skies, a lovely tree that dares to romp with every bird that flies. A spruce, an elm, a tamarack. Dear heaven, how can there be a lovelier name? And how I wish they'd given one to me. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Middle Creek, West Virginia by Jeannette Fraser Henshall. Read for LibriVox.org by Wayne Cook. I have a longing for a hill, a passion for small streams, and there's a creek that winds itself among my muted dreams. A tumbling stream, you know the kind, with water running clear, where birds might bathe between its songs and pilgrims hover near. It twines itself, love fashion, round a flowering tree, then worms and oozes in between the roots of sycamores and ferns. Petals float down and mingle with ribbons of grass, while I am conscious that I am dreaming and writing while I sigh. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Endie by Jeannette Fraser Henshall. Read for LibriVox.org by Teal Plumley. I like to visit Endie's house. She's like a dream herself. She has the books I know and love upon her reading shelf, and when I go to her we talk about the clouds and wind, and if I drop from clouds to clods, why, Endie doesn't mind. I like the streams, the singing ones, but Endie likes a fall, and if I disagree with her, she doesn't mind at all. Endie has 1,000 things to plant in one small space. When I find it can't be done, regret is in her face. She often says, "Oh, dare we plant narcissus in a row?" But she agrees, and I agree, where hollyhocks should grow. I only need to mention tea, and Endie's soft eyes shine. And then she talks. Her language flows more eloquent than mine. Once ambition burned my breast. Endie, too, was fire. But here is where I stop to rest, for Endie's getting tired.
End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
In Our Old Street by Jeannette Fraser Henshall. Read for LibriVox.org by Ryan. We children played in a queer old street that persistently seemed to hide itself and us in a kindly way from the great wide world outside. And how we loved in our childishness God's work on the sea and land. But death was secretive, dark, and deep, and never showed us his hand. With awe we gazed on his work, sad work, and the flutter of ribbons white. Made us all catch hands, hold our breath, and sob in our restless dreams at night. When a baby came to our queer old street, so downy and vague and new, we tiptoed out of the soft dark room, and the mystery grew and grew. Death rides round roughshod. But many things we have learned since then, for life has a strange sad way. We left the hills and the queer old street, where we used to shout and play. One of the things we have learned is this: though death rides around roughshod, back of our births and our deaths and our loves is the all-kind heart of God. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Honey by Jeannette Fraser Henshall. Read for LibriVox.org. His eyes were wide and large and bright as shining drops of dew, in which 2 violets had drowned themselves and made them blue. His lips were oh so soft to kiss. His smile was quaint and funny. Couldn't think of any name to call him, only Honey. No one ever thought that I was his sister Sue, for my eyes were just as black as his eyes were blue, and my hair was like a crow, his so golden sunny. Father ridicules the name, but keeps on saying Honey. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Moon Dazzle by Jeannette Fraser Henshall. Read for LibriVox.org by Ryan. Last night, as though with new washed eyes, I looked upon a lake. Something within me sharply stirred, an understanding ache. An ardent willow swayed and dipped the cool depths of lagoon. Unstirred miles of grass and dew lay lonely to the moon. It seemed I'd never seen a night or such a scene before. The moonbeams stretched in splintered path from shore to shadowed shore. I marveled thus, and wondered how, in unveiled hours to come, could such a pulseless thing like death make one so eager, dumb. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Two Friends by Jeannette Fraser Henshall. Read for LibriVox.org by Elatus. Last night, when I was wearied to my soul, I was slipping out to dreamland very fast, when I thought about you and the things you did, the help you gave for which I did not ask. Your unselfishness and kind deeds true kept coming up before me like a scroll. I could not count the many things you did for me when I was sick in body and soul. My undeserving self grew very, very tired with all the counting of them, and I slept. But 'twas just to dream again of all these things, and in my restless sleep I wept, and wept, and wept. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
To a Meadow Lark by Jeannette Fraser Henshall. Read for LibriVox.org. And when I saw him stamping over my little patch of shrubs and clover, his steel-bright gun held shoulder high, I scarce could check a smothered cry, because I knew your nest was low, so shuddered when I saw him go. A gunshot and I scarce could see you had flown screaming to a tree. O little bird with troubled breast, a miracle has saved your nest. I'm sorry you were frightened so. You should not build your nest so low. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Broken Numbers by Jeannette Fraser Henshall. Read for LibriVox.org by Teal Plumley. A mystery puzzled, vexed me, unsolvable, strange, and deep. Perplexed and worn out in spirit, it followed me into my sleep. Then, with eyes that were heavy with dreaming, I drifted from darkness to dawn, for the raindrops scattered my shadows with numbers of broken song. I thought of the heavy mystery that troubled me yesterday. It seemed I never could solve it or drive it completely away. And I thought of the thousands of moments when each to oneself stands alone, thrown back on oneself for the answer that never comes home. As I ponder each sad broken number the raindrops made on the pane, the shine came to me, came in bundles, for I heard the song in the rain. Shine is a guest we have often. Grief, being seldom, is great. I have no quarrel with mystery. I have no quarrel with fate. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
I'm Going Out by Jeannette Fraser Henshall. Read for LibriVox.org by Vincent Yao. I'm going out where breezes blowing round make trim-kept acres look half country and half town, where March winds tossed and blew the leaves away into the fence's corner yesterday. Oaks that never dropped last summer's leaves at all were coaxed at last today to leave them fall. I'm going out to this street's very end, where city atmosphere and country spaces blend, and hear the whirring wings of lonely larks, that circle like burnt embers o'er the park. I'll have my hair in torrents blowing wild about my pallid features like some child that had its romping days of childish fun most strangled ere they ever had begun. I'd like to walk around a field that's barred from other pleasant places winter scarred, where drifts have filled the corners. There I know is still a faint suggestion of late snow. So when your luncheon hour and mine comes round, I will have gone beyond the edge of town. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Ingleside by Jeannette Fraser Henshall. Read for LibriVox.org by Vincent Yao. The road that goes to Ingleside can't be described at all. 'Tis sweet beyond the telling, and the trees are paces tall. Spring a year at Ingleside is pungent sweet of breath, and for its rain-filled tumbling streams I'm homesick unto death. Confusing flowers fill the wood, like nodding plumes of flame, the like of which one's never seen, and no one knows the name. The hills that look on Ingleside are emerald to the brow, and I would give 1,000 dreams if I could see them now. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Friendship by Jeannette Fraser Henshall. Read for LibriVox.org by Vincent Yao. Once on a time there was a road went winding by my door, and fain I was to travel it in search of golden store. And oh, how oft with heavy heart the weary miles I trod, and many a sorry tale I learned upon the open road. Oftentimes I was made glad, and oft my heart was sore, for folk who travelled on the road that winded by my door. Adventure came I many a time, and even now I sigh, and sorry am to count the times the false gods caught my eye. But now I keep a little spot just off the busy road, and there I patient, wise-eyed wait those of the heavy load. And kindly then I draw them in, while warm heart talks to heart, and when night darkens I have found we're sorry for to part. This happened too once on a time, when I was weak and sore. I drew a jewel from the road that winded by my door. But then I very often find two roads so different meet, and many a friend I found and kept for whom I did not seek. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. This Year by Jeannette Fraser Henshall. Read for LibriVox.org by Vincent Yao. This year's breezes gently toss a fern uncurling from the moss, arbutus trailing lengths along, brown thrush thrilling with his song. The grosbeak sings a song of cheer. Ain't things beautiful this year? The dandelions are here again, amongst the grass like golden rain, a hawthorn raining petals white, whilst dripping with the dews of night. A mocker's notes round sweet and clear. Ain't things beautiful this year? So thankful that old winter's gone, fond hearts beat a tender song. The meadow lark in circles high sings songs of faith against the sky, while in my heart I greatly fear Things are too beautiful this year. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Spring Walkers by Jeannette Fraser Henshall. Read for LibriVox.org by Alan Mapstone. Isn't there just a hint in the air that spring's hiding out in the garden somewhere? Remember the place where the violets grew? Let's all go and see if they've been stirring too. That sounded like wings. Oh, look, it's a bird. How did he know that the mosses had stirred? Before we can really think it is spring, he's here on his faith and started to sing. Someone's been here, the leaves have been tossed, as if one were looking for things that were lost, and ruthlessly left to the late April snow the pale slender necks of the first buds below. Let's cover them up, it doesn't seem fair to leave them like this. See that birch over there? We'll remember the place and come back again when the sun is some warmer and there's been a rain. Let's walk through the wood and come back this way. I dislike to go home, I wish it were May. Here's a place I adore, this tender dark wood. It's a source of delight, and if one only could just come here and visit a while every day, 'twould charm every heartache one has quite away. This path has surprises at every bend. This log has been here since I can't tell you when. We just walk around or climb over this way. 'Twould spoil the whole scene if they took it away. This tree has been tired, standing up long ago. 'Twas March the old roughneck gave it the last blow. It looks like a man-contrived arch or a drive. The vines will cling round it and keep it alive. I'm tired, let's go back, we've come a long way. I dislike to go home, I wish it were May. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Winter Woods by Jeannette Fraser Henshall. Read for LibriVox.org by Alan Mapstone. Would you like to walk to Elm Court now that winter's here? Yes, it is a little chilly, but you'll like it, never fear. I'd like to see that little path, the one you sketched, you know. After last night's storm it surely must be rimmed around with snow. The grey grouse slept, I'm certain, beneath the patches white. The hills protrude a dazzling crest into the dawn's cold light. If attempts were made to climb up to its softened blue, every time we stepped up one, we'd slip back more than two. But now we'll just go through this woods, and this deep snow, my dear, will make a worthwhile picture, for it's beautiful this year. Let us plough through this deep snowdrift to that small half-frozen stream. We'll see nicer ferns, I'll wager, than a summer's ever seen. Ferns in winter? Yes, there's plenty. Will you only just look here? How frost fashions from plain water things so beautiful and queer. Wait a while, here's beauty. This stream bank's frozen dirt boasts an edge as sweet and dainty as a lady's underskirt. In summer this is lovely, but old winter has its charms, when these tender little trees stand round with ice clothes on their arms. It's very quiet, but lonely never. You can push these twigs apart, and in the softened stillness almost feel and hear God's heart. And one may feel this darkness like soft velvet one unrolls. It's very quiet, is soothing to a city-weary soul. See these blushes, all the edges have a perfect peacock hem, like women's restless fingers had picked up now and then. We must find the pathway back when the sun comes stealing through. Like old magic, all these wonders will be dripping from our view. I prefer to keep this picture just as we have seen it here. This lovely morning, to my fancy, is too beautiful, I fear. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Brother of Mine by Jeannette Fraser Henshall. Read for LibriVox.org by Wayne Cook. Do you recall the cardinal's call, O brother of mine? The hills that we climbed, be they ever so tall, with never a fear for a hurt or a fall, wondering ever if skies did fall, brother of mine. Many a hill we've climbed since then, brother of mine, been pelted with roses and rinsed with the rain of our sorrowing teardrops time and again, despair in our hearts and a clutch of pain, brother of mine. And there were pebbles that hurt our feet, brother of mine, but the dust of the highway seemed velvet sweet, though many a cross and trials we'd meet, with daisies and graves at our very feet, brother of mine. Father we had in the bygone days, brother of mine, and mother to wipe all our tears away. Though sodden the sky and shadows be gray, God will speak clear of the mist some day, brother of mine. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Dream by Jeannette Fraser Henshall. Read for LibriVox.org by Alan Mapstone. The flowers upon my lady's hat kept bobbing so this way and that, until the church seemed faint and blurred. The morning psalms I scarcely heard. Unless I see, I cannot hear. So I just admired that flower so near. 'Twas unlike any bloom that blows on trees or waves in garden rows, where clings the morning glory vine, or beds of phlox or columbine. Like nothing in the drowsy south, with love songs oozing from its mouth, in all the languorous sunny noons, or riotous breaths of all perfumes. Like nothing in my garden bed, of flowers washed blue or drenched red. Peculiarly designed it sat, and nodded on my lady's hat. I summoned all my powers to wit, but could not find a name for it. I sought my couch with troubled breast, I could not from my memory wrest the name of that tormenting bloom, till wearied tossing then I swooned into forgetfulness and dreamed of lands beyond where sunlight streamed, in gardens where an angel talked in soft glad whispers as he walked, and touched each blossoming bud and bell with pride and love ineffable. But one he loved beyond compare, he stooped and kissed the petals rare. With eagerness I did persist to see the flower the angel kissed, and there it grew, a thing intact, the flower upon my lady's hat. It stood a straight slim tossing flame, and I had yet to learn its name. With this in mind I tried to talk, but the angel only sped his walk. I could have cried for very shame, then someone called me by my name. The room was pink with morning light, because dreams vanish with the night, and things are not what they seem. I called the little flower Dream. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Shine and Shower by Jeannette Fraser Henshall. Read for LibriVox.org by Chris Binns. It's the cross that makes the triumph a glorious thing to share. It's the sweet behind the bitter makes the burden light to bear. It's the shine past all the raining of the heartbreak and the tear. It's the faith in dim tomorrows clears the mist from yesteryears. So I'll take my shine and shower, the bitter with the sweet, and I'll make a friend of sorrow every time we chance to meet. Give me triumph with disaster and my share of gain and loss, and I'll not be asking angels for a sweeter, gentler cross. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Lines to Death by Jeannette Fraser Henshall. Read for LibriVox.org by Teal Plumley. The harp, like strings of destiny, stretched taut a while, then broke. So life gives over the battle to death's relentless stroke. What's wealth with all its glitter when the sands of life are spent? It cannot unfold the curtain of that solitary tent. Fame is just a tempting babble that comes when least we call, and fate stands thus dividing rain and roses mongst us all. Life is just a few short summers, breath of roses and a prayer, then a little tent to sleep in when we grow too tired to care. The high, the low, the haughty, the humble too meet here and share like common brothers the sorrow and the cheer. But life must have its reigning, for the Master wills it so, and broken harps are mended after death has struck the blow. This recording is in the public domain.
To the New Year by Jeannette Fraser Henshall. Read for LibriVox.org by Wayne Cook. This morning, when I saw you looking into my bedroom window, I thought that I disliked you very much. For all I could see, you very much resembled other days, spotless and so wholesome, with all your tinsel bright. But your beauty touched me not at all. But I decided to put up with you as one would with strange, unwelcome guests. I turned you around and about many, many times, as a child would a new toy. You were a lovely sight, and yet I felt a bit depressed, till of a sudden I thought I saw you smile. Or was it only fancy? Then I gave you my profoundest thought for a short while. And way down in your remotest depths great possibilities looked out at me, and I thought of all the things you might do for this restless world. So I fell in love with you before you were half-hour old. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Homesickness by Jeannette Fraser Henshall. Read for LibriVox.org by Chris Binns. The folks whom we visit but once in a while, those friends who are far, far away, may be thoughtful and generous indeed to a fault, and kindness itself every day. Not even the hills with the mist on the top, and the sun shooting flames across the loam, can make me forget, nor still the wild fret in my heart for the place I call home. The valleys like Eden are misty and deep, they are washed with the dews of the morn. They but serve to depress me and make me a prey to longings both sad and forlorn. The lilt of the trees and the song of the birds, once so cheery, have sobered their tone, for my heartstrings are tied to a little fireside, in a place that I love to call home. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
To Love by Jeannette Fraser Henshall. Read for LibriVox.org by Elatus. Though I am slow of speech, it matters not, for this I know you feel and understand. Though break I at your nearness, yet I draw apart with wonder at the touches of your hand. Your eager eyes, so near my drooping lips, appraise my flushes, and you understand how fain I am to go, yet do draw near, and tremble at the touches of your hands. Though death should come and seal my eyelids shut, and though I tremble at his cold commands, I could be drawn away e'en from the tomb, methinks, if then, dear, you would touch me with your hands. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Your Friend by Jeannette Fraser Henshall. Read for LibriVox.org by Jake Warrad. Though you're a heathen to the core and cause him untold pain, he knows everything about you, but loves you just the same. You need not always seek him, for he is often seeking you. He has a welcome for the stranger, but a warmer heart for you. He is rather scarce on talking, but at listening he is good. You love to be around him, but respect his solicitude. He is tactful of your failings, well acquainted with your whim, and there's nothing in this wide, wide world you would not do for him. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Draw Closer to the Fire by Jeannette Fraser Henshall. Read for LibriVox.org by Allegra Littlecole. The summer sweets have faded, the hedge, the vine, and briar. Come, put your hand in mine, my friend. Draw closer to the fire. From footstools let us view the heights to which great minds aspire. Here's Riley Keats and Emerson. Draw closer to the fire. A brave refrain from unknown bards, and Byron's brave satire. Frank Statton's tears and tenderness. Draw closer to the fire. Though cold the winds and fierce the blast, and thwarted our heart's desire, we've Robert Frost to cheer the hearth. Draw closer to the fire. Give me your hand, my steadfast friend, the words that friends require. Stay with me through the dying year. Draw closer to the fire. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
What Love Is by Jeannette Fraser Henshall. Read for LibriVox.org by Larry Wilson. Love is a magnetism that enables two people to see one another as no one else can see them, a compelling, unresisting element drawing them into each other's arms. Love is an unselfish devotion, giving service without reward, sacrifice without compensation, suffering without alleviation. It is a power, a force, the fundamental principle of life, without which the mere act of living becomes a farce and a mockery. Love is the foundation of every unselfish act in this gray old world. It is the rosy amber hearthstone of earth's flaming paradise, and a stepping stone to a better world called heaven. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. End of Rain and Roses by Jeannette Fraser Henshall.